Hello, I'm Janna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. Today is day 12 of Craftmas. Thank you so much for joining me on my first Craftmas journey. It has been so fun, and of course, I had to save the most epic make for last. We're going to be creating some storefronts with this year's Tim Holtz Idea-ology baseboards, and we're going to be decking the halls with all sorts of wonderful Idea-ology goodies. If you'd like to see exactly which supplies I'm going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. I am so excited for today. We're going to be creating with Tim Holtz Christmas Idea-ology, and we're going to be making a vintage shop front. Now, to begin this rather massive project, we're going to be bringing in one of the large tags, and I've also got some pre-embossed cobblestones. This is from the Sizzix 3D folder, and I embossed this using some of the Sizzix paper. Now I'm going to be altering this with some Empty Tomb Distress Mica Spray Stain. We're going to make sure that we give this a really good shake, and then we're going to add some color to these pieces of paper. Some of the micas are a little bit stubborn, so you have to make sure that you give them a good wax so that you fully incorporate all of that beautiful shimmery goodness. Okay, so let's go ahead and just spritz these. I'm trying to get a variety of color on here so we have some fairly realistic stone. Okay, not too bad. That is going to add a very nice shine. It's kind of got like a slate look now, which I really like. Definitely happy with that. So we're just going to give this a quick dry with the Ranger heat tool, and then we can apply some distress crayon for our next step with these pieces. So I'm just picking up each piece of paper and just giving it a quick dry with the heat tool, and then we'll be ready for step number 2 with this. Okay, those are dry enough. So we're going to be going in with some distress crayon black soot. And I'm just going to lightly skim this over the top of the cobblestones. Just very lightly, not pressing down too much. I just want to catch those raised areas. And then I'm just going to take my fingers and smudge this out. We could smudge using the distress brushes, but I'm finding that my fingers work quite well for this. Okay, just adding a little bit here and there. And that is definitely a lot more stone-like now that we have that extra layer of texture. That black soot really helps pick out the detail on the cobblestone, which is just absolutely wonderful. I love the 3D embossing folders, and I do not use cobblestone nearly enough. Okay, so we're going to just add some crayon to this last one, just lightly skimming the top, giving it a little scribble, and then smushing it out with our fingers. Okay, just about done. Smudging it out on this side. Good. Those are ready. And I now have fairly dirty fingers, but this is an easy fix. We're just taking some water, spritzing, and I'm wiping my fingers off using a inky towel. And there we go. Clean fingers, ready to use for the next step in this project. I love it. Clean as you go, and you'll never have inky fingers for long. All right. So I've got these pieces. They're looking very stone-like. I'm very happy with this. Now let's bring in our base. So this is a size 8 tag, and it's some of the thick board, and this is going to make the perfect foundation for our vintage storefront. So what I'm going to do is place these pieces of paper down on here. We're going to use some collage medium, and we're just going to trim until these fit, and of course we're going to be using some collage medium to stick all of these pieces down. Okay, so we've got a rough fit here. That should work pretty good. The cobblestone, it really looks pretty authentic from this angle. Absolutely loving that. Okay, so I'm happy with the placement. Now we need the collage medium. So just off to the side, I'm scooping some out onto the media mat, and then we're just going to take our fingers and smush this right onto our base. Again, if you don't like to use glue plus fingers, paintbrushes are always a good option, or the collage brush. But for expediency, I still find that fingers are the fastest method for applying collage medium to substrates. So we're being pretty generous. We're getting a good layer of the collage medium on here, and I'm just spreading it around so that we don't have any clumps on our base. All right, just about there, wiping off a little bit of extra collage medium and making sure that we don't have any blank spots. I want to make sure that this paper is going to be stuck nice and secure to our foundation. Okay, so a little touch up here, a little touch up there, and pretty happy. Okay, so now we're going to need to grab the paper and start adding it to our base. Now, where that hole is, I'm not going to worry about that at all. That hole can completely disappear. I just want to get the tag covered with the cobblestone paper. Okay. Ooh, that actually lined up really nicely. Great. And now let's take that other piece. We'll stick that down. Just going to move things around just a little bit. Okay, I've got a rough measurement, so why not? Let's go ahead and bring in the tonic trimmer. I'm just going to do a rough estimate of where that cut needs to be, and then I'll have the two pieces I need to finish off the base. Just lining things up and cutting it down. There we go. Love the tonic trimmer for quick little jobs, and this is the mini tonic trimmer, which fits perfectly under my desk on top of a cabinet. Okay, so sticking that piece down here, and adding the final piece over here. Great. So now that I have these glued to our tag, we're going to set this aside and give the collage medium some time to dry. We'll come back later and trim off the extra bits and pieces. Okay, next, we're going to be altering a vignette box. This is one of the vignette trays, and it's reasonably shallow. I want to say it's maybe 3/4 of an inch deep and roughly 12 inches long. Now, this time, I'm going to be applying some distress paint around the interior of the box and around the exterior edge. So, let's go ahead and put some of this off to the side. Now, I'm trying to decide for the back of the box, green or red, because I'm going to have some baseboards in green and red. Well, you know what? Let's go with green. I think green is going to work in our favor here. All right, so let's give that distress paint a good shakety shake and put some right onto the media mat. Here I'm using a collage brush to paint the inside of the box. I'm just doing the inside lip because the other part is going to be covered with some worn wallpaper. We're just going to quickly work our way around that interior until we have a nice layer of the gold paint. I don't think we're actually going to be seeing much of this section of the box, but in case we do, I want to have it altered and fitting with our theme. So distress paint is a nice quick way to make those alterations. Okay, we've got a little bit more. Let's move on to the next side. Good. And moving back to the long side. Just doing a quick touch-up, making sure that everything is neatly covered, and going back for more paint. I love how smoothly the distress paint applies, and with the collage brush, it really lays down quite nicely. Okay, so that is the interior, and next we're going to flip this to the exterior and work on that as well. So I'm switching to the green paint, and this is Rustic Wilderness. I'm going to give that a really good shake and just putting it directly down onto the surface. So with the collage brush, we're just going to go ahead and paint the rest of this green. Let's go ahead and kick it on fast forward. While painting the back, I also decided to do some water splotches to give this a more distressed look. So, we have completed the vignette tray for our basic alterations. Now I'm going to go in with some of the worn wallpaper, and we're going to roughly size this before cutting it down on the mini tonic trimmer. I love this worn wallpaper. It's definitely got a department store feel to it, so I thought this would be perfect for the background of our vignette. Okay. Tonic trimmer is in place, and I have double stacked the 2 sheets that I need to cover the back. And we'll just slip that right in here and trim it down. There we go, just carefully lining that up. All right, single slice, and we are ready to go. So to attach this to the inside of the vignette, we're going to be using some collage medium, doing a quick check to make sure everything fits. And it does. So more collage medium, and again, we'll just spread this with some fingers on the inside of the box. So I want to be fairly generous with this, and we're giving it a good coating, kind of like butter on toast. Okay. So just quickly adding that in, making sure that we've got good coverage. A little bit more collage medium. I don't want that worn wallpaper peeling up. Okay. Making sure that we're getting into those little corners. Now, let's go ahead and add the paper. So I'm just sliding that in all the way to the edge and then pressing it down with my fingers. And yes, I'm going over the top with a thin coat of collage medium just to make sure that everything is going to stay nicely in place. Okay. Just smoothing that out, making sure we don't have any bubbles. And not bad. So we're going to go in next with our second sheet after I get the edges there. And again, just sliding that all the way over to the far edge of the box and grabbing some more collage medium to seal this completely down. There. Definitely liking that background. That is going to look really, really good. Very happy with this. Now, I'm not doing anything with the top edges of the box because those are going to be completely covered by the baseboard pieces that we're going to be adding in. So that would be all we need to do to the vignette tray for now. We're just going to take this and set it aside to dry. Okay, now let's bring back that tag base. Everything has had a nice chance to dry, so we're going to work our way around our base and trim off the overhang of the cobblestone paper that we had glued down. So just trimming as close as we can to the edge. There. Pretty easy, and I'm just using the tonic snips to work my way around the tag. There we go. Should only have one more side to trim now. All right. That would be the last side. So there we go. Paper is now trimmed. And take a look at that base. That is good. So I'm ready to move on to our next step. And our next step is going to involve adding some holes to this because I do want to add some lighting. Now, we're just going to kind of move our box to approximately where I'm going to want it to be. This is going to be a good reference point for when I drill the holes. So that is good. And I'm going to want one hole in the box to camouflage lights and one on the tag. So we're going to pull the drill in, and on the drill I have a 1/8 inch bit, and we're just going to quickly drill those holes. Now I'm going to do that part off camera. It's a little awkward and a little noisy. So let's go ahead and take care of that, and we'll be right back. So we have our holes drilled. Now it's time to bring in the hot glue gun. Here I'm going to be using the Sure Bonder fine tip glue gun, and we're going to be very generous with the glue that we're placing onto the base of this vignette tray. I want to make sure this is going to be solidly attached to our base, and there's no worry for glue ooze at the moment because even if there is, I'm going to be using a whole bunch of Distress Snowfall as snow to cover up any of the potential glue ooze that might happen. All right, So we've got our tray placed. That is looking good. That seems to be pretty solid. We're just going to move that back a little bit. Now I'm going to be bringing in our baseboard pieces. I am going to be using the shop fronts, and I've also got the clear acetate pieces that look like store windows. These two big green pieces are going to be the main facade of our building. And they are going to overlap a little bit. I think I will alter them after I've got more of a foundation. So they're going to be offset, and the main thing is just to keep my lines in place so that I'll have plenty of space to glue. Now, this red piece is really interesting. I do recall seeing a post on Instagram where someone had taken this piece and actually bent it to form a convex panel. So I'm going to try to do that, and I'm giving this my own twist for the storefront, but I thought that was really cool. Instead of having a flat piece, why not give it a whole different shape and dimension? So the plan is to bend this into a different shape, and it's going to be attached to the storefront. So it's like you've got this beautiful window that's acting as a display case. Right now, we're going to be taking the acetate pieces, and I'm going to be carefully gluing them to the backs of these baseboards. Now, this piece is definitely too big, so I will need to do a little bit of trimming. We're just going to make a little snip with the tonic snips, and that's going to be my guideline for when I go in with the tonic trimmer. This is just so that I have an idea of where to cut and using the tonic trimmer, so all of my cut lines are going to be nice and straight. So let's get this trimmed down, and then we can place it inside our window panel. So I'm just looking for those little notches that I cut, and then we can just trim this piece down and pop it right into the baseboard section. Now, for gluing, I've decided to go with hot glue today. It is just going to be a bit faster, and I can always use the little trick of heating up the hot glue with the Ranger heat tool if I need to readjust something quickly. All right, this piece is all nicely cut. Let's go ahead and pull our baseboard piece back and grab the hot glue gun. So we've got our piece, it is ready. And if you notice, there's a dark and a light side. I want to make sure that the dark lines are going to be facing outwards. So as I'm gluing, I want to make sure that the white lines are facing me. So I'm just going to be putting a fine line of glue around the edges of the frame and down those wider parts as well. This should give me enough adhesion to make sure that acetate piece is not going to wander off on me. Okay, another line there. And I'll need one more line up the side. Now I'm going to try to watch my fingers because there is a lot of hot glue around. And hot glue, well, it is hot. Okay, that's good. Let's get that clear transparency. Just going to carefully line that up and stick that down. All right, there we go. That should be nice and secure. So we're going to be doing the same thing with the other two storefronts. So here are the two altered fronts, complete with acetate windows. I love how these just add a touch of vintage nostalgia. These are so fun, and the transparencies along with those baseboard pieces are brand new this year from the Holtz Christmas Idea-ology collection. Oh, and that red piece, I love that so much. So many good details, so many fun pieces. Now, let's add a touch of winter with some Ranger Distress Texture Paste Snowfall. I'm just going to be going in with the spatula tool, and we're going to be carefully adding bits here and there to get some icy cold snow buildup on these windows. I'm just going to work fairly systematically with the palette knife and try to get a really good coverage all over the windows, just really focusing on the corners and the edges, maybe trying to build up a little bit of volume so that we have stuff that looks like snowdrifts. This is going to look so cool when it dries. It's going to look very icy, and that is just the look that I'm going to be going for. So we have got quite a bit of ground to cover. So for right now, let's go ahead and put this on fast forward as we transform these storefronts into a beautiful winter wonderland. And let's check these window fronts out. Ooh, we have got some great icy snow. I am loving this. This is going to be so fun to build with. Now, we're just going to be setting these aside to dry. Next, we're going to start on some of our window embellishments, and we're going to be pulling in these fantastic Idea-ology salvaged pieces. We have the snowman and the soldier. We're going to go ahead and do the snowman in real time and come back and work on the soldier in fast forward. So for the snowman, I'm going to be using some mustard seed, and I'm just going to create myself a little palette right here. We're going to need some carved pumpkin, just a teeny tiny bit of that. There we go. And let's see, we'll go for some chipped sapphire, rustic wilderness, gathered twigs, and some black soot. Okay. So I'm going to start with my lightest colors first and then work my way from there. So I'm going to start with the mustard seed, and this is just going to be a little bit on the broomstick. I'm just taking a fine detailer water brush and then adding paint directly to the surface. So far when painting the salvaged figures, I haven't found the need to add any collage medium or anything extra. The paint has stuck very nicely to the surface. Okay, there's the broom. Nice and easy. Next, we're going to go for the carved pumpkin. We'll paint the carrot for the snowman's nose. Okay, easy enough. There, just make sure we have good coverage. All right, pretty simple. Now I want to go for the scarf. I'm going to use some chipped sapphire for that one. So I'll just take that. Let's see here, where does that start? It kind of starts in the back. So I'm going to start in the back and work my way towards the front. So again, I'm just kind of going a little slow and trying to get that paint to line up nicely. There we go. I'll work my way back this way. This is really nothing more than just having a bit of patience and picking the colors that you want to bring these little characters to life. And the distress paint is definitely my favorite medium for that. Okay, almost got the scarf done. Pretty good. A little bit over here. There. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. All right, next I'm going to go for the rustic wilderness, and we'll use that to paint the mittens on the snowman. So I'm just going to take that and just carefully dab this on. Okay, just slowly working my way around. And as I'm painting, I'm moving the figure and trying not to do too many contortions with my wrist. All right, now let's take care of the other mitten. Just have to keep turning this. Now, before I move on to the darker colors, I need to decide what color I want to do the little band on the hat. I think I'm leaning towards more of the chip sapphire right now. Okay. There, almost done with this. Yeah, really, this just comes down to having a little bit of patience while painting. I honestly do find this pretty relaxing. All right, now let's take care of that little blue band on the hat. So I'm just going to quickly wash my brush off and go back with some more of that blue. Okay, and I'm just going to carefully run that little bit of blue around the hat. Almost there. And with the hat, it's not too bad because I can cover up any little slips with black. Okay, good. Now, let's go ahead and take care of that broom handle with some of the gathered twigs. This is a really small space, so I'm going to try to go slow. Okay. There we go. Just painting that on. There we go. Not too bad with the broom. And I want to do this little part across the front. Good. Almost done. Now we're going to be down to just the black. Okay. Now let's go in with some of that black. I'm going to start with the hat first. That's going to be the easiest part. I'm just going to brush that on. Now I have noticed with the distress paint, different paints have different viscosities and they react slightly differently. The black does not stick nearly as well as the others, and I'm finding that pretty interesting. So I'm just going to brush that on, and we might have to do one more layer in addition to the first one that we're putting down, but that's okay. Let's see, just brush that on here. Pretty good. All right. Definitely going to need that second layer. I can see the black just beating up. Not sure why the black does that, but once we have a layer or so built up, it's going to look great. Okay. I'm just going to take a moment and quickly dry off that layer of black so I can add a second layer. Okay, so that did take a second layer to get the black filled in on the hat. Now all we have left are the eyes and the buttons. And again, we'll be pulling in some black soot for that as well. Hopefully I can get these on the first layer. Okay. I'm just being really careful and just gently dabbing with the brush. I'm hoping that we'll get good coverage first time around. Okay, 2 more buttons and then we will see. All right. I think I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going for a very clean cut look with this, so I'm not trying to age this or anything. This is kind of like just a display piece for a store window. So clean, bright colors is just what I'm going for. All right, so we also have the salvage soldier to work on. So we're going to go ahead and put that part on fast forward. Okay, we have finished up our 2 salvaged pieces. Let's take a closer look. These will look great in the window display. Okay, we're just going to set these aside, and now we're going to turn our attention to the interior of our storefront. So, we have our altered pieces for the outside, but what about the inside? So on the inside, we already have added the worn wallpaper, but we need to do a little bit more. I want to add some garland in here, and we have got some tinsel. This will be perfect to add a little bit of festive decor on the inside. Okay, so I'm just going to take some of that, and we're going to just roughly measure about how much we're going to need. Let's see, I'm kind of thinking a loop like this, and then another loop like that. Okay, and we'll just take tonic snips. And now I'm going to use a dash of hot glue just to add this in. So I want a dollop of glue over here. Good. Got that. I'm just going to stick the tinsel right into it. Okay, I'm just going to hold that a moment in this corner. Good. And while I'm at it, I'm adding another glue stick to the hot glue gun. I seem to be going through that pretty quickly. Okay, and I want to put a dash of glue right in the middle, right here, and another dash in the other corner. That should be good. All right, moving the hot glue out of the way. I'm going to take that tinsel and place it. So just like that. Then we'll bend this down and around, and there. We might need to add a little bit more glue to keep this in place, but it looks like it's going to hold on its own, so that's good. Okay, just pushing that down. There we go. So now we have some tinsel in here. The next thing that I want to do is to add our figurines. And we're going to kind of just place them on a little bit of a pedestal because of the height of those window pieces. So I'm just bringing this over as a reference point, just so that I can tell how high a ledge I'll need to create. Okay, so I put that there, and I'm going to want, so what I have here are a couple of chipboard pieces. These are from some of the longer strips used for ledges, and we're going to just use these as mini ledges to put our little figurines on. So if I place that just about here, that should be enough of a ledge for our soldier to stand on. Now I just want to double check that. Just putting this on here, and yep, just a little bit off to the side. That's going to be great. Okay, so I'm just going to take the ledge, I'm going to take some glue, just running that thin line across this. I'm going to put my window trimming back for a moment just to double check the height. And that's going to go right here. Okay, good. So that's number one, and I'm just going to hold this in place for a moment while the glue sets. Good. Let's go ahead and take ledge number two. A little bit more hot glue. Okay, running that thin line. Alright, taking our window piece as reference and sticking that down. Okay, so now I'm going to want to add our characters in here. Let's see. Okay, let's take our snowman and we're going to add some glue to the base. Just right here. And we'll just place him right onto a platform, which is going to be this one right here. I'm just going to hold that a moment or two and just make sure that the glue is going to stay in place. Good. And let's double check that with the window. Ooh. Yep, that is just what I was going for. Definitely happy with that. That's going to be really good. Okay, now let's go ahead and we'll take some more glue for the soldier. Just turn that, add that to the base here, and we'll stick this one right here. And again, I'm just going to hold that in place while the glue has a moment to set up, and then I'll double check placement with the window piece. Oh, that is going to look great. I'm really happy with that. Okay. Yep, that is very, very good. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do will be to add kind of a line of floofiness at the bottom. This is going to kind of be like a window treatment, and we're going to be pulling in fringe. So we're just going to take some fringe, unravel some. I'm going to have a little bit of surplus. All right, right there should be good. And snips, we need to trim that down. Good. So just take the rest of this and set it aside. Now, this stuff is really neat. When you crinkle it up, this is when it starts to get floofy. And the more you crinkle, the more of a floofy look you get. And this kind of reminds me of like snow. So that's going to be great for the window front. Okay. Just really scrunching this good. I want to have lots of volume and texture going on here. All right. It's getting pretty good. A little bit more scrunching. Okay. So now I'm going to run more glue along here. And I'm just going to use that to tack the crinkly fringe in place. All right, I'll go that far and then I'll add more glue. So I'm just pushing this in and trying to get as much of the crinkle showing as possible. Good. More glue. Can go all the way to the end this time. And we're just going to tuck this in and try to get that texture showing. Okay. Pretty good. Yeah. All right, let's see how that is with the window piece. Good. Definitely liking that quite a bit. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do will be to add some little banners here. And I'm going to be using some fabric tape. We have this beautiful plaid fabric tape, and it's already in really festive colors. So I'm going to cut about 5 of these, and I'm going to cut them into little banner pendants. So let's see here. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So just cut that. And all I'm going to do is cut triangles out of the bottom of these, and that's going to make our banner. Just like that. And since this is already on sticky tape, it's going to be really easy to add. And then we'll just cut the little divide and cut more triangles until I have enough for the background. I think that's going to be a fun element. Okay. That's 2. Oh, so many good different patterns here. I love it. One thing I'm really trying to go for with this vignette is to incorporate as many different textural details as I can. I don't always play with texture a lot, so for this vignette, I really wanted to challenge myself to use more textures that I typically wouldn't use in my projects. Also, I've been challenging myself this year to use my stash, and I've really had this fabric tape in my stash for quite a while. I'd hazard maybe 3 years. So it's definitely time to use it. Okay, good. So we've got that. Now I'm just going to turn the vignette and we're going to add those banners into the background. So let's go ahead. We're just going to tilt this. It's going to move it like that. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to start with the short one on the left and then we'll work our way over. So we're just going to take this and right there. Okay, and we'll just lift up the garland, place that. Let's see, I want to do this, then this, that one, and then we'll see if I can't tuck this long one over here. Okay, got a plan. I love things that have double-sided tape. It always makes placing them in projects so much easier. Okay. Good. Really like that. And the next one. Right. Let's see. There. That is very good. Okay, 2 more to go. Ooh, that fabric is really, really good. I like that a lot. All right, now for this plaid red one. Okay, I'm gonna place that here. All right, and 1 more. Oh, I really like that. That is so festive in the background. Definitely a good look. All right, now this one's gonna be the hardest because I have to sneak it behind the snowman. Okay, just try to keep that up. Ooh, this one's tricky. All right, there we go. Got it. Whew. That was a tight squeeze for my fingers. Okay, so pretty happy with this. I think I'm done with this part of the vignette. Now we're going to change angles and we're going to start working on the front of the vignette next. So now we're going to see about attaching the front facade of the building. So this is the initial plan. We have these pieces and they're definitely too wide for the vignette. What I'm going to be doing will be to cut these down a bit so that we can add a dimensional portion to the front of the building. What I'm going to do first will be to mark where I need to make my cuts, which is going to be along the frame of the door. And this is going to be as tall as, oh, I need the other piece. It's going to be reasonably tall. We're going to make our cut line here for height. There. Okay, so just with the scissors, we're going to trim this. So I'm just going to cut along here. Okay, I just need to cut this piece next and the plastic. All right, that should be good. And now we're going to cut along the door frame. Just right through here and up a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to finish cutting along here and then we'll have our pieces all ready for assembly. Now that we have our pieces cut, let's go ahead and add them to the front. Oh, wait, but before we do that, we're going to need to add in some lights because I do want the interior of this lit. Okay, so for that, I'm going to be pulling in some plain tiny lights. Now, I'm just going to flip this around because I do have a spot on the back that I had drilled. And I kind of want to do just lighting all the way around just to highlight the scene on the inside. So I need these lights. Yep. To light the interior of the vignette. And we just need to untangle these and then start feeding them through the hole that we drilled earlier. So I'm just trying to get these all nicely sorted. And then we will have some light on our little scene. Okay, good. So we're just going to feed these through the hole in the back of the vignette. And I'm not sure if I'll use tape or glue. There we go, it's feeding through nicely. All right, where's the light strand? There it is. So I'm just going to pull this through. Okay, so what I want to do is just tuck the lights kind of behind all of that floofy paper stuff. That's good. So that's going to hide on its own pretty well. But I also want to go around the side of the box and kind of up and over. Let's see. I think I might use some of the fabric tape to act as little anchors. So I'm just going to cut this, and we're going to cut this into little strips. And I think that'll help me tack the lights in place. All right. So we're just going to take that little strip. I'm going to take the backing off. I'm going to take that light. Let's tuck that back under the snowman. And we're just going to put that there. Good. And then we're just going to move that up and over. Then we'll need another little piece of tape to make sure that doesn't go anywhere else. Okay, got that. There. Okay, next. That seems to be working out pretty well. And if I'm lucky, I might even get a double strand going across the bottom. I really want the interior of the store to be well illuminated. Okay. Pulling that tight, sticking that piece of tape here. Good. And we're going to bring that down. I need another little bit of tape. Okay. That is going so much better than I thought. I've tried different taping methods in the past, but I think I like the fabric tape the best so far. That really stays in place very nicely. Okay, that's not going to matter. That's going to be hidden. All right, and let's try to hide the last of that strand down here. So again, I'm just taking that wire and just trying to camouflage it into the crinkly bits. Good. Uh-oh, some of my tape just came out. Not a big deal. Let's push that wire in and try to grab that piece of tape that wandered off. Got it. All right, let's just reattach that and tuck those lights in, and then I can put the front of the building up. Good. Now I've got the lights where I want them. Okay, and we'll just tuck these back in. Just pushing that into the corner. All right, I think I've got it. Now I'm just gonna check that. That should be okay. Let's see how that is with the lights on. Ooh, not bad, but I do want to just tuck those lights in a bit more. I think we're going to be okay, especially once I put the lights in. Just want to push that little bundle right under the snowman. There we go. Okay, moving that. All right, I think we're good. Now, hot glue before any of this comes out of place. So first, running hot glue right along here. I'm definitely expecting some glue drips. That's going to be completely normal. All right, just want to make sure we've got a nice generous helping of glue on here. And want to run some along the base of this and along the back here. All right, let's get this in place. Good. Ooh. Trying to smush that in as much as I can. Any glue ooze that is hanging over the side, I can probably cover that with some of the texture paste Snowfall. Right now, my only intent is to get these pieces in place. I can camouflage glue strands and other things later. Okay. Good. Let's move on to the other side. Oh, I don't like that, but maybe I can fill that in. That's going to be a mess, but that's going to be okay. I want this stable. All right, so I'm just going to run the glue and down the side. Good. And glue along the back here and the edge. Let's push this down. Yeah. Hot, 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 hot. Ooh, hot glue. Okay. And that side seems to be holding very nicely. Still a lot of glue strands, but that's to be expected. Ooh, that is... Wow, that glue strand just keeps going and going. Let's see. Can I just... There we go. All right. So, we've got most of the front of the building up now. Thank goodness. Wow, that was a bit tricky. Okay. Now, we've got this front space, and I've been reserving that space for a lovely Christmas tree. And we are going to take this. This is going to end up right here. But first I'm snipping that base off. We do not need the base. Okay. So this is going to be going here, but first we do need to decorate it. So we've decorated trees before, and that usually entails just adding some beautiful baubles. Again, that is what we're going to be doing. But first I do need to wrap this tree in some lights. Oh wow, more glue strands. That's a lot of glue. All right. Again, not a big deal. All of this can be camouflaged. So we're going to be wrapping this tree with some of the beautiful, colorful lights. We've got a strand right here. And this part, pretty easy. And I don't want to go overboard on the lights. We just want a few lights in here, nothing too ridiculous. We don't need to light up the tree like a beacon. Oh, you know what? I want to wrap that the other way. It's going to make more sense to go from the base to the top, because I'm going to use the rest of that strand to integrate into another element. So I'm just going to take that. I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to keep wrapping that. Don't need a whole lot of lights. There we go. Tree is wrapped. Let's double check this and see how it's going to look. All right, on button. Good. That is good. We don't need a whole lot of light on here. This should be plenty. Okay. So I'm just going to shut this off, and we're going to put this part on fast forward as I add some baubles to this tree. Now the most challenging part of this vignette. We're going to be taking this piece and we're going to be curving it around the tree. I really want to give the store some dimension, and I was greatly inspired by one of the Tim Holtz makers who had done a curved baseboard piece. So I'm going to attempt mine using the double paneled storefront, and we're going to be using hot glue to try to keep everything in place. This is definitely going to be a challenge. So the first thing I'm going to do will be to add a very generous portion of hot glue up and down this portion of the baseboard frame right here. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Just lots and lots of glue. I'm definitely going to glue ooze, and we will do our best to cover that up after. And we're also going to apply some glue along the base of this red piece. I'm gonna have to be very careful and work quickly because I'm definitely likely to be dripping glue everywhere, and there is a high potential for glue burns. So let's get this in place the best we can. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. All right, smushing that in as close as we can. Oh, this is gonna be a mess. All right, just smushing that. I think we got it. Oh boy. This part, like I said, this is definitely the hardest part of this creation. So, all right, if I can just get one side cemented, I can worry about the other side after. All right, it's mostly in place, but I really need for that glue to set. And this is hard. This is hard. I can barely see what I'm doing. I've got the vignette at a super funny angle. I think I need more glue. Oh, I've got that side sticking. Yes. All right, let's turn this. We've got glue stick on this side, but we need more glue. All right, let's get that glue in there. Oh, reload on the hot glue. Okay, and now let's push this side in. I'm gonna hold that there. I'm gonna push this part, the base. Ooh, glue ooze galore, but it's gonna be okay because we can cover that up with snow. All right, I think we've almost got this in a good spot. All right, definitely need more glue here. I was really tempted to use super glue with this, but I'm afraid if we did super glue, I would totally end up glued to the project. So that's why we went with hot glue instead. All right, I'm just gonna hold that for a little bit and hope that sets. I'm just gonna, oh boy, glue strands everywhere, but not a big deal. We can go back in with the Ranger heat tool and blast those glue strands out of there. And it looks like I might need to do some additional touch-ups. The shiny red portion of this baseboard is actually peeling up. Okay, wow, it's not something I expected to happen, but you know what? That's okay. I like the challenge. You never know what's going to happen, and sometimes you just have to improvise. And that's when the joy of popcorn starts happening, because if something unexpected happens, you get to try something new, and then that can spark a whole nother idea you hadn't even considered before. That's why I love ideology so much. Even if you have a big crafty there's always the opportunity to turn it into a really happy accident. Okay, I think this side is good. Let's turn our attention back here. The red piece is peeling away. I really did not anticipate that. So let's run some glue. Let's see if I can't stick that back into place. Let's see, I think I want my die pick. I'm gonna try to take that and just press. That seems to work pretty well. Okay. I think I got it. I think we've got that in place. Ooh. That was tricky, but we got it. Okay, excuse the long camera arm over here, but this is a funky angle to be filming at, so we're gonna have to make do with that boom arm just kind of hanging out in the corner. Okay, so we have got the storefront, but it is a mess, but we knew that. So I'm just going to take the heat tool and we're going to get rid of some of the glue strands, and then we're going to see about decorating this a bit more. Okay, so that cleared up enough glue strands. Now we're going to work on adding more decoration. So next, we're going to be pulling in some icicles. These are lovely, and that's going to help disguise some of the glue ooze that we've got going on. So let's just go ahead, pull these pieces out. Let's see here. Do we have enough? I think I've got another small stash still placed. I'm going to put these along the top here. Let's see here. 1, 2. I think we have enough. All right, just gonna back the camera up just a little bit so we can see what we're doing. I'm just gonna take some hot glue, and that's gonna be an easy addition. Just run that along the top of the icicles. Good. Nice and simple. Stick that right here. Cool. And let's take care of the next one. Oh, I do need to move my twinkly lights out of the way. I don't want them to get glued on accident. All right, more icicles. Good. Just a little bit of glue, just running that along the edge. Don't need to be too excessive here, which is nice. Good. And I'll just hold that for a moment while that sets up. Oh, I've had these in my stash for so long. And like I said, I'm really trying to use my stash this year. And this has just been a great opportunity to use some of these pieces that I totally forgot I had. Every year I try to do a clean out of all of my crafty spaces, and I try to put the things that I haven't used in a while into a specific drawer. That way I'm reminded during different parts of the year to use these really cool things that I've been stashing. Okay, and just need a little bit more. Let's see, I want this side, yes. All right, I'm just gonna snip this. Okay, that was nice and easy. So we're just gonna take this and a little bit of glue. Good. That should finish this part off. All right, ooh. Absolutely loving the icicles, and I'm kind of thinking I might want to add a little bit of distress glitter later, but right now I want to focus on decorating the front. So next, we're going to bring in some pine twine. This is a fun piece, and I wish I could get my hands on more of this, but limited run and all that, that's okay. We will use what we have and enjoy the creating process with it. So for this, I want to make some nice swoopy garlands, but I want to make this thicker and double it up. So it's going to be 1 swoop, 2 swoops, and 3. So I'll just give myself a little extra, and I'm going to double this up. We're going to twist it together, and then I'm going to add in more tiny lights. So I've just doubled this up, snipping that, and now I'm just taking this and I'm twisting it together to form a thicker garland. All right. Pretty easy. Okay. And now I want to take these lights and see how we can incorporate them. Kind of want to just twist them together. I'm not sure how well that's going to work, but we're going to try and find out how that goes. Okay, so if I go in this direction first, I could probably double back. So I'm going to make that first swoop. It's going to be about like that. Yeah. This will be interesting. So I start here. I just want to wrap. Yeah, just wrapping like that. That should work. Let's see if I can wrap this on the way back. I don't know if I'm going to have enough lights for this, but if I don't, I can always grab more, but I think we're going to be okay. There we go. Ooh, I'm really liking that with the lights on here. That looks really nice. Okay. Oh yeah, we're going to be okay for lights. Cool. That worked out perfectly. Okay, so I'm just going to tuck that back here, and I'm going to glue that garland in place. So start here, take that, just place that here. I'll have to hold that for a moment or two to make sure it sticks. Yeah, I really like that with the twined lights. That is really, really festive. Cool. And let's see. Try to put that here in the middle. Wait, no, I don't want that in the middle. I want that more here. Yep, like that. Because I'm trying to go for 3 swoops. Glue strands again, but we can get rid of them. Not going to be a big deal. Okay, I think that's all right. Now, I want to do a little scoop right here, and then we'll have our other scoop over here. So I'll have this end there. Ah, so many glue strands. It's gonna be okay. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It can always be worse. Okay, I'm just trying to camouflage everything here. Good. All right, and let's get that last corner. All right. Perfect. Oh, whoops, I want to get this out of the way first. Ooh, that is not camouflaging as nicely as I wanted, but let me see. I can just toss that here. Okay. Not great, but not horrible. We'll make it work. Okay. All right. Now, let's see. I think I need to get rid of the glue strands next. That's a lot of glue. Okay. So we're just going to go in again quickly with the Ranger Heat tool, blast some of that glue away, and continue. much better. So, the next thing we're going to do will be to add more of the snowfall grit paste. There are a lot of spaces that need some camouflage, so we're just going to be very, very generous with the grit paste and start covering things just a bit. So I had wanted to do a bit of coverage on the sidewalk anyway, so this is a good opportunity to do that. Can get that around here. So glad I stocked up on the snowfall. I love this texture paste. It is so, so pretty. And it just makes any project get such a good winter vibe to it. It really does look like snow. That's why I love it. Okay. I'm just going to be really generous with the grit paste. Just push that right on. There we go. That should be very, very good. Oh, you know what? Let's add more. Why not? I've got plenty of paste and several edges to hide. So that will work out very nicely. A little bit more here. Good. And I do want more on this side. Just gonna bring that around. There. And I do want some along the top here. Just taking the knife and scraping that right on. I'm trying to hide that line where the icicles meet the rest of the baseboard pieces. Good. A little bit more over here. Okay. So snowy. That's kind of funny. It's like I'm making snow right now, and yet the view out my craft room window is quite bleak. There is nothing but brown grass and a smattering of green. For some reason, we had very unusually warm weather here in Lower Quebec, and the lovely snow that was on the ground went away very abruptly. But hoping that we might see some snow for the 25th, but who knows? The weather patterns have been quite strange as of late. All right. So if we can't have snow out there, at least we can have snow in here. And this is my favorite type of snow. The type that won't make me freeze. Okay. Now, I think I want a bit more snow right there, too. Ooh, we're definitely eating through that jar. Not a problem. We've got snow, and we've got plenty of it here. Ooh, like that. Let's see, I do want to try to cover this up, too. If I can just get that over the glue line. There we go. Still got so much hot glue that just needs to be hidden. Let's see if I can just kind of move that along. There we go. Just want to hide that hot glue line. Okay. Good. Now we're getting somewhere. Just trying to push that snowfall paste right into the corners and get rid of that hot glue. No more glue ooze. Pretty good. Okay. And I want to add just like a little bit of snow on these windows. Trying to be kind of more random with this. There. Oh, there we go. That's getting a more random look. Perfect. And that is camouflaging some of the glue. Even better. Okay. A little bit more around the base. Good. A little bit more over here. All right, I am really happy with the snow coverage now. So while that is drying, we have got a large sentiment to add as well. And we can do that while this is setting up. Also, I've got a lovely tree that I want to add right here. Perfect. Okay, so we've got altered bottle brush tree, we've got the Christmas tree, we've got the window display going on. I do want to add bells over here as well, but I think I need to add the sentiment first. So this is new. This is from this year. This is the festive marquee. So we've got Season's Greeting and Merry Christmas. Of course, we're going to be using Merry Christmas. Ooh. Okay, that's not quite as heavy as I thought, but it's heavy enough. Now the question is, do I leave this as is, and where do we place it? Do we want this down in front? Could definitely look nice. Or do we want to get some extra height and put that on top? Oh, that's a tough one. I'm really not sure. I kind of like it in the front, but that kind of messes with the storefront. Yeah, I'm leaning towards putting that on the top, and you know what? The finish on this is so nice. I actually think I'm not going to alter this. I really thought I was going to go for some gold lettering, but I really like this as is. This is perfection. This is already beautifully vintage. So I'm just going to place this right up here and see if that snowfall grit paste is going to hold everything in place for me. Let's see. Just a little bit more right there. Okay. Yep, just like that. I really love that as is. That is really cool. It's a really nice piece. Okay, so the bells. We've got to add some bells. All right, I'm just going to clear the deck a little bit. It's getting a little crowded over here. All right, bells. We've got all sorts of jingly bells over here. There have been so many different types of bells released over the years, and I've been collecting them, and again, haven't used them as much. But this is a perfect project to add some bells to. So what we're going to do is take some hot glue, and at the peak of each of these little dips, we're going to add some bells. I'm going to start over here. I'm going to go for that big one first, and then 2 little bells, just like that. Yep. All right, get over there. Ooh, and hot glue is hot. Very hot. All right, more glue strands to eliminate, but for the most part, that is what I was going for, just that little cluster of bells. Good. Next, let's add a little cluster over here. So first the big bell can go right in there. Then we'll add the nice little ones. That's 1. And there's 2. Great. Yeah, I like the little jingle bell cluster. That's fun. Okay. I've got that. Let's do this one right here. Big bell. And little bells. There we go. Very good. All right, and let's add our last set of bells over here. Got our hot glue. Good. And a bell. And 2 more bells. 1 and 2. Excellent. Now we've got all of our little bell clusters. Now the next thing that I want to add is an altered wreath. I had altered this during one of the Tim Holtz lives this year and absolutely had to include it in this video. This is the altered wreath. This was done with distress paint and a dash of foundry wax. Now, in addition to the wreath, I also wanted to do a thin little piece of pine twine. We're just going to have that wrap around here. Again, I am doubling the pine twine up just to get a floofier garland. So we'll just take that and again just twisting. That's going to be so festive. Okay. Okay, all nice and twisted. And this is just going to be a little band around the top of this ridge. So we're just going to take the hot glue, run that around, and add some pine twine. There. Oh, whoops, I don't want to stick my hand in wet snowfall. Okay. Oh, still got those glue strands. All right. Now let's add the wreath. Just gonna do a little bit of glue here and here, and we'll stick that right here. Okay. Yeah, that works very nicely. Great. Now, let's see. Anything else that needs to be added? Yes. So the last thing that I want to add are these little snowflake adornments. They are so pretty and sparkly. And I'm just going to add them as like little ornaments to the doors. Now the question, do I want to add them to the top of the door or the bottom? If we add them at the top, it's going to be a little dangle like that. If we add them at the bottom, it's going to be a little ornament like that. Oh, and I do want to add some doorknobs as well. Totally forgot about that. But that's easy. We're going to pull in some droplets for the little doorknobs. That's 1 and 2. And those I can just apply with collage medium. No hot glue needed for these. So I think I'll do the doorknobs first. And you know what? Since we're doing the doorknobs there, it's going to make more sense to put the snowflakes up higher. And those I will use some hot glue on. But right now, little door things here and here. Okay. Just take these, pop them up. Up. So small. Good. And the other one. All right. So I'll make sure these are even. There we go. Excellent. Now a little bit more hot glue for those snowflakes. Just a dot. Don't need a whole lot to get these to stick. There. And one more. Okay. All right, if I'm lucky, this is going to be the last thing of hot glue that I need. Okay, snowflake. Good. All right. Definitely like this quite a bit. Okay, so I'm going to do some cleanup with the Ranger Heat tool, and then we're going to come back and take a closer look at the vignette. Here is the finished project. This has taken over an hour to put together, and that is not counting all of the minutes of pre-preparation. So let's go in and take a closer look. Over here, we can see the soldier through the window. We've got a decorative tree out front with all sorts of wonderful snow. Going up, we can see the icicles and the Merry Christmas sentiment. We've got our altered wreath, the twine pine with its lights. Over here, we have the altered bottlebush tree inside the storefront and our curved baseboard, giving this project some really cool dimension. Then if we come over this way, we can see our snowman on the inside of the building. And if we look very carefully in the building as well, we can also make out those fabric tape pennants that I attached to the walls. So let's just go down around the base. We can see the cobblestone here and more of the bottlebush tree. There we go. Let's go ahead and move this out. And here is the completed holiday vignette. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner for this fun Christmas project. I had so much fun putting this together and creating all of these fun holiday details. I hope that you've enjoyed the 12 days of Craftmas. I have certainly enjoyed creating for this crafty season. And until next time, happy crafting.